turn this into something positive and maybe it'll spread.
He's the most positive person on his job.
Now you're cured.
I feel good.
Hello and welcome to Positively Milwaukee. Thanks for tuning in. Do you have your cup of coffee in hand? Well, for our first story, you might want to grab the butter and jam because it's all about how bread is bringing people together in more ways than one. Nothing beats freshly baked bread right out of the oven.
You can really taste the difference. It's so fresh.
It's pure bread at this point. It's flour, water, salt.
The smell, the softness, the expert need of an artisan baker.
You know, we feed people. We like to make people happy with foods.
But fresh bread can be a luxury.
I can't tell you how many people I hear say, I've never been in this position before. I've never been without a job before.
A worrisome situation for the more than 500,000 people in Wisconsin who struggle with hunger. But the Neighbor Loaves program is rising to the challenge.
As soon as I heard about it, I was like, I need us to participate in this.
The idea is simple. Buy a neighbor a loaf, a baker bakes it, then it's donated to a local food pantry.
To be able to offer like artisan baked bread that like is the kind of bread that's the most desirable bread, you know, it's awesome.
Locally sourced grain is crucial.
With the local grains, then we get to help out all the small farmers that can't compete with those big farms.
Stephen Blanchard uses 100% whole wheat to make his sourdough loaf.
My current starter is almost 8 years old.
Stone Creek's is a few years younger.
It's a sourdough culture that we started about 2.5 years ago, and we've kept it growing ever since then.
Sourdough starters that continue to grow and feed hungry stomachs, a fact not lost on food pantry directors.
Community work moves forward at the speed of trust. You need a little bit of that good starter, right, to build on. You need a little bit of trust to build more trust. Food is not just about fuel, right? Food is about community.
And it's about respecting the community members who come through the doors, some for the first time.
To serve those people with dignity and respect, with freshly baked bread made just for them, is much more than just coming to the food pantry and getting a bag of canned goods.
The Neighbor Loaves program, breaking bread and building community.
To think that we might be playing a small part in that at people's dinner tables, that feels good.
And it brings everyone together when they know it's good and fresh.
Love it. The Artisan Grain Collaborative started the Neighbor Loaves program, and it's made up of more than a dozen bakers and food pantries throughout the upper Midwest. And so far they have donated more than 12,000 loaves. We put that information about the Neighbor Loaves program on our Positively Milwaukee Facebook page. It's football season, and this morning we thought it would be fun to go into the TMJ4 vault. 7 years ago, I interviewed then TMJ4 sportscaster Jessie Garcia. She had just written a book, My Life with the Green and Gold, 20 Years of Covering the Packers. I sat down with her for a candid conversation about her life in a then male-dominated industry.
In sports tonight, it was a chance for the Badgers to see how good they really are.
Jessie Garcia was the first female to anchor a sports broadcast in the state of Wisconsin, but she admits being a mom is her #1 job.
7.
Oh, you already own that. Nice.
All right.
Jessie and her family are here playing appropriately a game of Packers Monopoly.
I need to get going.
You do have to get going.
Jess, what was the impetus behind you getting into sports journalism?
I love journalism from such an early age and never wanted to be anything else except somebody who told stories.
Believe it or not, her love of sports came relatively late.
Growing up, I don't remember watching a single sporting event.
As a child, Jess was raised mainly by a mom who Jessie says does not understand football. But Jessie's love of sports grew when her stepdad came into her life.
Probably when I was 12, he started taking me to Badger basketball games. And that was my first get hooked moment.
Sports reporting was a perfect match.
And really thought to myself, I would rather do this than be covering the negative news. Yeah, I want to be covering something that's fun and makes people happy for the most part.
Garcia grew up in Madison. Her mother was a carpenter and an architectural designer who taught her she could do anything. Garcia began her career as a sports reporter at WISC in Madison.
Have you found any problems because you're a female as opposed to a male?
I remember one night a man called up and he said, I am never going to watch Channel 3 again because you're a chick and chicks know nothing about sports. And I was pretty floored.
But ultimately, Jessie conquered the doubters and proved her worth.
I just sort of had assumed that everybody in Madison would be on board with having a female sportscaster, and that wasn't the case. Now, thankfully, there were not that many incidents like that. And in the end, it probably made me stronger because I had to work harder to prove to people that I did know sports.
Jess has written a book about her 20 years of sportscasting called My Life with the Green and Gold.
I just wanted to present myself as a real person with flaws and mistakes and, you know, all of that sort of stuff, because we all are. I mean, nobody wants to read a book about somebody who's perfect, because none of us are.
She also teaches at Mount Mary College. She's had many opportunities to go national or to bigger markets, but she's happy here.
People have said to me, you know, have you ever wanted to go to ESPN or something like that? And I never have. I'm very content in a comfortable community that's, you know, just has so many benefits to it that we really love it. Pay $40 per locker room.
Garcia says this is a great place for her and her husband to raise their two sons, Jake and Charlie.
I had a math quiz today.
How did it go?
It's math.
And the sportscaster, author, and teacher is already hard at work on another book. But for now, her MVPs are right here at home.
How do you want your kids to see you as they get older? How do you want them to remember their mom by?
I want them to see somebody who did what she wanted to do, you know, chased after a career, a dream, a job, but also kept them as the highest priority through everything.
Carole Meekins, today's
Well,
TMJ.
fast forward 7 years and so much has changed. And joining me now is Jessie Garcia. I really like to call her the Renaissance woman because she can do everything.
Carole, you are too kind. I can say the same about you, though. Thank you.
No, you amaze me. And I can't believe, like, it's been this long. What's your reaction after seeing that piece? After all these years, your babies look so young.
I know, I couldn't believe it because Jake, my oldest, is now a senior in college. At the University of Minnesota. And then, you know, my younger one is a junior in high school. So just looking at how, you know, they have gotten so much older was a lot of fun. Of course, I've aged too.
Jessie, I have followed your career, and you began as a sportscaster, very popular, very famous local sportscaster. Then you became a college instructor, an author, and then you've done a lot of things that a lot of people just say they might do, but then you've done them. Now, can you tell our audience, because a lot of people may not even know, you're back at the station in management. Tell us about your role here at TMJ4 right now.
So about almost 2 years ago now, I took a job back at TMJ4 as one of the assistant news directors. My title is broadcast director. I oversee the anchors, I oversee the weather team, the sports team, and all of the producers. And my job is, what is broadcast over the air? You know, how are we looking? What are we doing? How are we showcasing things? And I love my job. It's been great. You know, stepping into management, it's different, but I love it. I love to be able to think big picture about the future of TV, which is an industry I've loved since the 1970s when I, you know, first was watching all those, you know, nightly news shows back then, and those iconic anchors. And so, you know, I'm really enjoying this new role that I'm in, and it's great fun. And I still do write on the side as well.
Can you give us a sample of what you're doing right now, of some of your writings?
So one was with the family of Casey Fitzrandolph, who's a speed skater from Verona, Wisconsin, and he won a gold medal in the Salt Lake City Olympics. And the book follows his journey to a gold, and then also tragically his sisters then battle and passing from breast cancer. So the incredible highs and lows that this family had. So I wrote that book with them. That's called No Stone Unturned. And then that book is out. And then also I wrote a book on the history of Wisconsin Olympians, which starts in 1900 with our very first Olympian who actually invented hurdling, the modern hurdling technique, and goes all the way through, you know, recent times, modern days. So that's called Going for Wisconsin Gold. So those are both out. And then after that, it was so much fun, I decided I wanted to try writing some fiction, which I never really had done before. So I have written a couple of novels, a couple of thrillers. You know, one or two of them are still sitting on my computer that I'm still perfecting. But I did record one as an audiobook. It's called Death at the Dog Park.
That sounds so dark, Jesse.
No dogs are hurt in this book.
That's good.
It's set in Wisconsin, in a fictional town outside of Madison, and it was something I thought of when I was at the dog park with my dog. You know, and it's about a young mother who's just moved from Chicago to a suburb in Wisconsin, and she discovers a cold case murder in this small town. And she decides she wants to sniff around, and the more she uncovers, the more she realizes the town is full of suspects. So there you go.
Thank you, Jesse, for being with us on Positively Milwaukee this morning. You're the essence of positive people.
Thank you, Carole, and so are you. I just so appreciate the Positively Milwaukee franchise and the show and everything you do for Milwaukee.
Well, thank you, Jesse. And Jesse is also working on another book. Guess what? This is a thriller based in a TV newsroom. So I can't wait for that. And all of her books are available on Amazon. But still ahead, NBA star Caron Butler with an important message this election year. And a Wauwatosa dog was voted the cutest dog in the world. Meet the owner of the prized pooch who saved Lamb Chop from misery. Welcome back. The NBA season might be over, but for one Wisconsin native and NBA analyst, his work is continuing, and it's off the court and very important. Here's Delaney Bry.
Born in Racine, Wisconsin, former NBA champion and all-star Caron Butler was never exempt from racial inequality.
It's extremely tough to watch it, to hear it, to read it, but it's something that I observed my entire life.
It's something the nation has observed.
People recognize after seeing that visual of George Floyd that we have a problem in America.
A problem that has the potential to forever change lives.
When you look at the optics and when you think about what's happening every 3 seconds in America in the Black and brown, Hispanic, Latinx community, it's going to be a police encounter. And that's over 10 million encounters a year.
Across America, people have and are still marching, protesting for change and supporting police who do serve justice.
There's some great officers out there, but there's some bad ones too. The really good officers need to be in front of this, saying that this isn't right, this isn't proper protocol.
It was while marching himself, Caron found his next mission.
Being out in some of the peaceful protests here in Hollywood and Vine, out in Wisconsin, Juneteenth Day March, and people just like, what? Like, what's the call to action? I'm like, vote.
Hello, Wisconsin. It's your favorite son, Caron Butler, a.k.a. Tough Juice.
Partnering with Now This, Caron has produced PSAs to provide Wisconsin voters with the information they need to have their voices heard.
Just be engaged. I'm not telling you who to vote for. You are responsible for the people that represent you in these elected positions. And if they don't identify or have a pulse of, community and some of your concerns, you have the right to, vote and, move the needle on change that you want to see.
In the past, athletes have been told to stick to sports, just do their job and play the game.
If, basketball was the only thing I've ever done with my life, and I felt like I was really good at it, but if that's the only thing I've done with my life, shame on me.
It's that moral responsibility that caused Caron, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the entire National Basketball Association to speak up when Jacob Blake of Kenosha became the latest observation of injustice.
I talked to George Hill, and they just felt like they didn't have the energy. They didn't have it in their heart with all the things happening around the world to just go out there and play the game of basketball. That is power. That really is. When you see the hashtag Black Lives Matter on the NBA floor, like, that is power. When you see the visual of players having Black Lives Matter, group economics, equality, all those things on their jerseys, that's power.
It's that power that every single citizen 18 years and older of the United States of America has. The power to not just make an observation, but a change. The power to vote.
Delaney, thank you very much. And thank you, Caron, for being an inspiration. Still ahead on Positively Milwaukee, a Halloween house display that has channeled Ghostbusters. And a chat with the owner of People Magazine's cutest rescue dog. She's from Wauwatosa. Welcome back. A dog in Wauwatosa is giving us a reason to smile. Lamb Chop spent the first 6 years of her life in a puppy mill. But now she's People Magazine's world's cutest rescue dog. And I got to talk to Lamb Chop and her owner, well, maybe her owner, not Lamb Chop, to see how they're doing today.
Well, joining us now is Kristen Schubert, and she is the owner of Lamb Chop. And I see Lamb Chop is there looking quite complacent, Kristen.
Yeah, she's relaxing, getting her treats today. It's kind of early for her.
Well, you know, I have to say, it is so exciting, the fact that she was named the most beautiful rescue dog in the nation. Now, this is out of 10,000 dogs. What was your reaction when you found out?
I could not believe it. You know, I've always known she's a cute dog. I mean, she's the cutest dog to me. Had no idea that everybody else would agree with me. So it's been really great, and really great for our nonprofit. We've been able to educate a lot of people about her history and where she came from. So it's been really awesome.
You know, I was reading about her history, Christian, and can you tell us what did poor little Lamb Chop go through before she was with you?
Yeah, so I adopted Lamb Chop in 2014. Prior to that, she spent most of her life in a puppy mill. The really terrible thing about puppy mills is the lack of vet care that they give their breeding dogs. So when I rescued Lamb Chop, she had to have mammary tumors. She had what they call cauliflower ear from untreated ear infections. So she had a lot of tumors in her ears. And then she had to have all of her teeth removed. So she had to have all those surgeries. Luckily, the Washington County Humane Society, they used a big portion of their medical fund to give her all the surgeries that she needed before I was able to bring her home.
So Lamb Chop was in a puppy mill and she was just basically used for breeding. Was that correct?
Yes. She was about 6.5 when they pulled her. So she likely had a litter probably twice a year.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that she's doing well. And I think the best part about it is that she has a beautiful home, and she's not only that, she's a star now. Can you tell us about some other things? She's been on the cover of magazines. I would call her the most celebrated puppy in the Milwaukee area right now, or I should say dog.
Yeah. So she was actually on the issue of Milwaukee magazine in their June-July issue. So she won Milwaukee cutest dog, and then that was in June. And then in September, she won People magazine's world's cutest rescue dog as well. So, you know, Lamb Chop is celebrating with a ton of cheese. And I think she's enjoying all the attention, I think.
Thanks, Kristen.
And Lamb Chop, as you can see, is living her best life. Now, Kristen volunteers for a group called Bailing Out Benji. It exposes puppy mills and their connection to pet stores and online websites. We've got more information about that group on our Positively Milwaukee Facebook page. Well, when there's something strange in the neighborhood, who are you going to call? A Bayview couple calls the Ghostbusters. Here's James Groh.
You know it's spooky season when the decorations at A&J's Halloween house in Bayview go up. This year, they went with a Ghostbusters theme.
There's a lot of fun aspects to Ghostbusters, and it's pretty easy to build off of all of the things that they have in the movie.
Now, don't get me wrong, these decorations are cool during the day, but at night, they just hit different.
Couple Andy Reid and Jamie Beauchamp have been going all out on Halloween decorations at their house on 2943 South Clement Avenue in Milwaukee since 2003.
It took about 6 to 8 weeks to build, and then it took us about 6 days this year to put up. We recently received a letter from a family thanking us for doing it because it's a sense of normalcy this year.
Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I just couldn't resist doing it.
Well, every year we do a big Halloween display, mostly because we enjoy doing it, but now over the years we have added the charity to it, so we have a fundraiser that we raise money for Pathfinders Milwaukee.
Pathfinders helps homeless and housing insecure youth find and sustain safe housing. The couple have raised nearly $17,000 for various charities since they started.
They've got a drive-up donation drop box as well as one you can walk up to and you have got until October 31st to check out this awesome house. It's all coming down on November 1st.
Ooh, that is so cool. Thank you, James. Well, you can check it out on Clement Avenue, just a couple of blocks north of Tenutas.